write a whole bunch faster and make a ton more money? Well, this is a question I get asked all the time by writing students and established copywriters, because everyone wants to make a lot of money and doesn't want to have to spend their entire life grinding away, sitting at a desk, isolated inside their little cubicle, making that money, doing all the writing that it takes. See, we all love to write, but we don't want it to consume every hour of every waking minute of every single day. We want to have an incredible lifestyle as well. So that's exactly what I want to show you how to do right now today. And the secret lies, yes, there are some techniques and yes, there are some ideas about how you can actually write faster, but the real secret lies in writing with more leverage, being smarter about how you're running your business and what you're doing, especially when it comes to the marketing side of drawing clients into your world. I often tell the example of mowing my lawn. You've probably mowed a lawn before. If you haven't, you're missing out on one of the rare treats of life. And I have to be honest with you, I have not mowed a lawn for many, many years. That's because I have 11 children and lots of helpers. So I want to tell you about this lawn mowing story, this experience that'll help you understand how writing faster isn't always just about writing actually faster or typing faster, but it's actually leveraging what you're already doing to make it more valuable and to expand its efficacy, to expand its reach, especially when it comes to marketing. Now, how did I come up with this idea, these strategies that I'm going to share you here today? Well, my name's Joshua Boswell. I'm the founder of Copywriter Marketer. It's been my privilege to work with literally thousands of writers just like you over the years and share with them insights and experiences on how they can take their writing skills and turn that into an amazing, incredible lifestyle. Almost 10,000 writers have gone through my courses or been trained by me, and it's just a privilege to watch them get clients and grow their business and expand their reach and have a better lifestyle because of their writing skills. And I hope that this does exactly the same for you. Now, let's talk about this lawn mowing thing for just a minute, and then I'm going to share with you 5 specific points about how you can write faster and use that writing to draw clients into your world and make a whole lot more money. So the lawn mowing experience is really simple. It's basically this idea that we live out here on 5 acres, and about 2.5 of those acres are in a lawn. Now, think about this. You could come over to my house and you could mow my lawn, and you could do it with one of those old manual push mowers, right? The little tick, 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 tick things, right? And you could eventually get it done. And you could say, well, I'm going to mow this lawn faster. And you could go exercise, you could lift weights, you could go and run, you could increase your cardiovascular health, you could do all kinds of amazing things so that when you push that mower, you pushed it you were the fastest mower pusher in the whole world. And it was amazing. And I could come along with a regular lawnmower that's got a self-motorized drive on it and a bigger, wider deck, and I could probably beat you no matter how fast, no matter how efficient you got at pushing that little manual lawnmower. And then, of course, I could do what I've done here, and I could go out and buy a great big 72-inch zero-turn, turbocharged, super zip fast mower, and I could put my children on that mower and have them mow the lawn with a great big deck. And of course, they could get it done exponentially faster than you could get it done, no matter how great a shape you're in. You see, it's not always your own abilities, but it's rather how you leverage yourself and what you do. And in the world of writing, the one thing that you need to understand is there are tons of clients out there, especially when economies go down, when companies are in crisis. Some companies retract and they cut out their budget, but other companies, they expand. They're like, okay, we're going to face this crisis and we're going to face these challenging times by expanding. I recently read an article that compared different airlines and how they handled down economies, especially the challenges that we're facing right now. And most of the airlines were like, look, we're going to downsize, we're cutting out cities, we're reducing routes, we're laying off employees, we're doing all that kind of stuff. And Southwest Airlines instead said, you know what? Actually not. We're going to expand. We're going to expand. We're going to dive in. We're going to keep status quo. We're going to reduce prices. We're going to service better. And they were like talking about all these different things that they were going to do to help, grow not only their company, but to be of service to us, the passenger. So, which was really cool. So you'll see those differences in ways to approach a down economy. So I'm telling you this because there are tons and tons and tons of companies out there that are looking to expand, that are looking to grow, that are looking to have greater reach. And they want to do that by increasing their advertising, increasing their communication, increasing their content, increasing their web presence, increasing the service that they're rendering. And so much of that demands good, effective copy and content, which is where you and I come into play. So the opportunity is like never before been better. It's absolutely incredible what's going on right now in the world for writers who have eyes to see, ears to hear, and are excited about taking advantage of these difficult times. So how do you do that? How do you get away from the push mowers and get on the great big, zero turn, high performance turbo mower? Well, what I want to show you is how to leverage yourself so that as these prospects, as these potential clients, as these companies that are looking to expand, as they go out there, they see you and they're excited to work with you. Now, here's the thing that I want you to understand. Companies will hire you when they can trust that you can solve their problem. That's simple. That's it. It's not a matter of trying to figure out, well, is there really business out there or any of that kind of stuff. They simply need to trust that you can solve their problem, that you can increase their marketing, that you can provide better content, that you can get more likes, that you can get more sales, that you can help them meet their goals, their dreams, their aspirations through the writing that you provide. Once they know that, it's simple. Think about this. If a company knew that they could invest, say, $10,000 into hiring you to be a writer, and then they could turn around and make an additional $100,000, $500,000, $1 million, $5 million in revenue because of that spend that they did on giving you that $10,000, would they do that? Would that be a good return on investment? Well, yeah, that's like a phenomenal mind blow. You can't get that kind of return on investment in the stock market. You can't get that kind of return on investment investing in most companies, but they know that they can get that kind of return on investment hiring an effective writer. And so if they trust that you could be one of those people, then it makes sense for them to hire you and to pay you top dollar. So what has to happen for them to see that you are worthy and that they can trust you to solve their problems? Well, the answer is you've got to show up as an expert. They have to see that you are not only an expert in your field, but more importantly, you're an expert writer. See, I've been hired to write for all kinds of industries where I was not an expert. I knew nothing about the industry. I had no clue about what was going on. They just knew that I knew how to research. They knew that I knew persuasive writing. They knew that I understood human nature. They knew that I was effective and could get the job done. And so they hired me, and I figured out the logistics of the industry itself. They trusted that I was an expert and that I was a professional and I could get the job done for them. So they hired me and paid me tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars and continue to do so. So how do you establish yourself as an expert? A very simple way is to write daily compelling content. Daily compelling content. And post that in places where your target audience is reading stuff. If they're on LinkedIn, you post it on LinkedIn. If they're on Facebook, you post it on Facebook. If they're reading magazines and articles and trade journals and those kinds of things, then you find ways to post it there. But what I want you to know is that when I say writing daily compelling content, I'm not suggesting that you sit at your desk all day long slaving away producing content to try to attract clients into your world to show them that you're an expert professional writer. What I am suggesting is that you follow a process of what I call content multiplication, where you put all of your best thinking, your time, your effort, your energies into a single core, what I call an anchor article, and then you leverage that one piece of content multiple times over a given week. So I want to show you the system. It's a 5-part system, and then I'm going to give you a pro tip to expand it out even more. So think about this. You need content, lots of content. So think about it like my lawn mowing thing. I could go out there by myself and go out there and push. That would be like writing one article, publishing on LinkedIn once a week, and then just there it is. Well, that's okay, but you could do it a lot faster. So what if you had 11 children and you hired all of them to do push mowers? Well, that would go even faster. Or what if you got a great big lawnmower and hired a couple of your kids to go out there and all mow simultaneously? That would go even faster. And that's the image that I want you to have in your mind. I want you to think, okay, if I put out good quality, compelling content every single day, then those little pieces of content are going to go out there and they're going to be like my spokesperson. They're going to be my persuasive army of little minions going out there, sharing with the world the resources, the skills, the insights, the talents, the strategies, the concepts that I can share, the problems that I can solve for them. And they're sharing that out there. And you don't have to be doing anything, just like me. I put the content together, I send it out there, and then it goes out and it does all the work for me. Just like when I plop my children down on the lawnmower and say, go mow the lawn, the work is getting done, but I don't have to do it. So I'm doing things faster, but I'm doing less effort. And at the end of the day, I'm making a whole lot more money. So how does this system work? Well, let me walk you through it and give you insights on each step of the game. And like I said, give you a pro tip at the end that I think will be very valuable to you. So, number one, the first place that we start is every single week, you should think of a piece of content, some training, an article that you could write that would be of great service to your industry and validate that you're an expert writer. Here's the question to ask. The question is, if you're hired by your ideal client to teach their in-house writers how to write more effectively, more persuasively, more compellingly, is that even a word? More compellingly? Anyway, more compellingly, right? If you got hired to do that, what would you teach them? Would you teach them about headlines? Would you teach them about research? Would you teach them about big ideas? Now, let me pause for just a moment. If you're saying to yourself right now, I don't know what I would teach them. I'm just a new writer. I don't even know all this or that or all like headlines and leads and stories and closes and all these kind of things. Like, I don't know what I would teach them. Then, my friend, you know what your first assignment is, and that is go learn your craft. Go figure out what a headline is. Go figure out what a lead is. Go figure out what a close is. Go figure out what direct response is. Go figure out what content is. Go figure out what memes and posts and articles, all that kind of stuff. That's your first job because look, you can't say that you're serious about being a writer and getting paid really well if you don't understand the industry. So that's job one, is to figure it out. Now, my suggestion to you is figure it out as you go. It's called on-the-job training. So I'm suggesting that you write consistently. So, take advantage of things like my persuasive writing secrets course and look at that and say, oh, that teaches about headlines, that teaches about emails, that teaches about these different kinds of writing that I could do and quick ways that I could get up to speed to provide a professional, persuasive, compelling service to my potential clients. So job one is you have to have some skill. I'm always saying, look, you have to have three things to make it in this business: writing skills, a marketing system, and a winning mindset. And if you've got those three things, you can make literally millions of dollars as a writer. You just have to have those three things. So if you say to yourself, well, I have no idea what I would teach them, then I'm saying to you, look, you're a writer. Go research it. You can learn. Go figure it out. Go increase your skills. Learn your craft. My friend, learn your craft. Because unless you've got that nailed down, then it's hard to do anything in this industry. But also, don't spend your whole life trying to learn your craft. Do it as you go. That's what I did. I learned a little bit of marketing, and I went out there and marketed myself, and I learned as I went. But I did learn, and that's a key point I want you to know. I did learn the craft. Okay, so I got a little sidetracked there, but it's really important because I teach this system to writers all the time, and they look at me like, I have no idea what I would teach. I'm like, for crying out loud, go learn your craft. Let's figure this out. You can do this. You can do this. Okay, so now, assuming you know your craft, assuming you have writing skills, assuming that you have something that you can teach, how do you leverage that to show up as a professional expert writer in your industry? Here's how you do it. This is the process. Okay, so number one, the first thing that happens is every single week, so one time a week, you're going to write what I call an anchor article. Why is it called an anchor article? Because it's going to anchor your entire business. All of your marketing efforts, your writing skills, your mindset, it anchors that down because as you write these articles, you're increasing your skills, you're doing marketing efforts, and you're gaining confidence, which is part of the winning mindset. So this is awesome. So once a week, you're going to think about a topic that would be compelling and of interest to your target audience. This is what we do as writers, right? Okay, so you're going to think about a compelling topic that would be of interest to your audience. And once a week, you're going to write that article. And that article is going to be somewhere between 700 and 1,500 words. Okay, 700 and 1,500 words. Now, what do you do with that article? We can talk about that and placement a little bit later, but essentially, you put that where your target audience is reading stuff. For most writers, that's on LinkedIn. And so you should have a good strategy for building up your LinkedIn. And if you don't have that, I've got tons of resources, lots of videos, lots of content, lots of training programs, and you can go check that stuff out. So once a week, you write yourself an anchor article, 700 words to 1,500 words. How long should this take you? I guess it depends on what kind of a writer you are. Research everything, top to bottom, as figuring the subject out, writing this whole thing, getting it edited, proofed, putting it, posting it, and everything cost me about right in the neighborhood of 3 hours. This is not like a full-time job, right? So you're going to write your very best stuff. Now, you might be a little slower. I've been at this almost 2 decades, so you might be a little slower. So maybe it takes you 6 hours, and you got a whole week to do it. Again, not a full-time job. You can do this. So once you write this article and you publish a core article once a week, then what do? Well, inside the article are smaller articles. We're going to call these posts. Okay? So, I should write it down here. I have a box for this. I should write that in here. Okay, so you're going to write posts. And these posts are going to be one time a day. And these posts are going to be anywhere from 100 words to 300 words. Okay? So, and these posts is going to be day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can do 7. I always take one day off. I don't work 7 days a week. I take a day off to rest, clear my head, focus on family, regenerate. Every athlete in the world knows that recovery and the recovery stroke and rest period is vital to high performance. I suggest the same thing for you as a writer. But the point is that I'm going to write a post, and where am I going to get the post from? I'm going to extract it from the anchor article. I'm going to take ideas, quotes, paragraphs, concepts from here, and I'm simply going to leverage it there. Will I have to do a little bit of extra writing? Sure I will. But will I have to do a lot of extra writing? No. Most of the big ideas and the concepts are already embedded in my anchor article. I'm just breaking that up and thinning it down and putting it into smaller chunks, smaller bite-sized pieces. Okay? This is not overly complicated. Now, third step. I'm going to do this once a day where I post this. But you and I both know in the world of social media and in the world of content, once a day doesn't cut it. Does that mean you need to be sitting around writing zillion things? No, because, well, here's what happens. You all know that it's a stream of consciousness. So one post comes up here, and then 50 million posts come there in your feed, and then they're gone. And so you have to maintain top of the mind presence by doing this. So that's where this next step comes into play. And this is what we're going to call memes or quotes. Okay? So now, how does this work? So you take your anchor article, you break it up into 3 or 6 posts, and those posts are going to be 100 to 300 words. And now you're going to take those memes or those posts and turn them into memes or quotes and break this up, and you're going to do this 2 to 5 times a day. And these are going to be anywhere from 5 to 20 words. you see how we're just taking the core message here and we're multiplying it out? This one article, the ideas, the concepts, the how-tos, the strategies, all the things that you're teaching in this anchor article just get broken up into bite-sized pieces, and then the tiny little bite-sized pieces, right? Just little things that you can post, and you do that. Now, here's the deal. This whole process right here, you can sit down and block out 5 or 6 hours on a Monday or spread it out throughout the week. And then you can use things like Hootsuite or Zoho Social or other kinds of social media content management, most of which you can get free versions that would work for you and me, and or relatively inexpensive. And you can just schedule this. So literally you can take all of your content and you can just write it up, schedule it out, and post it online. And it's done for the week. It just goes out there, and all of your little foot soldiers and your spokespersons and your ambassadors, they're out there doing work while you're working on other stuff and focusing on other things. They're doing all the work. So you take these memes and quotes that are 5 to 20 words, and 20 words is pretty long. You can do a quote that long, but anyway, somewhere in that neighborhood. And you're just gonna multiply that down and post those. Where again do you post them? Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever your ideal prospect is reading stuff and is paying attention to you. That's where you post it, right? You want to get your stuff in front of your target audience. So this is very important. Now, once you do that, now here, let me just say, I'm just going to put a dotted line right here. Because you could stop right here. Just these 3 steps. Don't do anything else. Just these 3 steps. And you would think, look how much exposure you would be having on a regular, consistent basis. Stuff going out there all the time, every day. New content, new bits of information, new resources, new training, new quotes, new insights. All positioned to go in front of your target audience. They're going to read this. They're going to engage with this. They're going to look at what you're doing. And they're going to be like, man, Susie, she knows what she's talking about. Dave's brilliant. Like whatever, like they're going to be looking at your stuff and thinking, this person really understands effective writing. Now, here's a couple of suggestions. Number 1, give away your best stuff. I mean, just give away your best stuff. Number 2, don't worry about people steal. Don't live in a world of scarcity. We're like, well, what if someone steals it and doesn't pay me for it? Look, they're going to use it. Some people will take your best training and teaching and they will use it and they won't pay you for it. But that's okay, because there's a group of people out there that don't want to do it themselves. They're just looking for an expert and they pay really, really well. Okay, so if you just do these 3 steps right here, just these 3 steps right here, then your effectiveness will skyrocket in terms of marketing yourselves and getting clients. But what if you want to go the extra mile? What if you really want to go out there and have different modalities, different mediums for connecting with people? Then you're going to do steps 4 and 5. And what do those look like? Step number 4 is where you create an audio podcast, right? So your audio podcast, and again, this, you'd be like, I have no idea what it is. You can go and search this, like, go online and do a Google search. How do I do an audio podcast? And I've also got training stuff on this. So you want to do an audio podcast. That should be anywhere from 5 to 20 minutes. Now, how do you generate this audio? I have a really simple secret for you. Are you ready? Take your anchor article, grab your phone and a microphone, and read your article. That's it. And if you want to pause and comment on some of the ideas that you're sharing in your anchor article, that's fine as well. But I'm not suggesting that you write out long, involved scripts or whatnot. You literally can take your anchor article and record it in audio. Done. Super easy. Post it up to your podcast channel or stick your audio onto LinkedIn or stick your audio on your website. Done. That's it. Simple. It just adds another modality. Some people are auditory learners. Some people are visual learners. This is not overly complicated. Okay. Now, number 5. What's the 5th thing that you can do here? Number 5 is you can do a video. A video. And you can post it to YouTube. That's simple. Where do you get the content for your video? I got a really simple suggestion for you. If you have a computer with a camera, grab your Anchor article, look at the camera, and read your article and comment every now and then about something that's going on in there. Or not, just start off just reading your article and then hit boop, upload to YouTube. Done. That's it. Simple. Don't make this overcomplicated. You don't need fancy backgrounds. You don't need all the expensive lightings. Literally, it's just another modality. It's another access point where people can come across your stuff. Remember, you're a writer, not a videographer, but some people are visual learners. They want to see you. They want to see your face. Now you might say, oh, I'm terrified of the camera. That's okay. You don't have to do this. But if you want to multiply your reach, how long would it take you to do this? Now, a pro tip here, not this pro tip, a different pro tip. A pro tip is if you do the video is going to have audio baked into it. So in reality, these two can be interchangeable, right? They can be interchangeable because if you do the video, you'll have the audio, just extract it. If you don't know how to do that, the technical stuff of it, it's easy to do this, or you can hire someone on Fiverr, or you can do a Google search on that. Don't worry about that right now. Just know that this right here allows you to multiply your content. Essentially, you're doing some deep thinking on one article, and you're turning it into all of this, and all of this ends up being your ambassador, your little messengers that run out there telling the world that you're a professional expert writer. And that's what they want to know. They want to see that you know how to do this. Cool? I hope you're saying to yourself, that sounds challenging, but I could do this. I could publish this stuff once a week and then on a daily basis. By the way, these get published once a week. I better put that on here, one time a week for both of these. Okay, so these just get published once a week, so it's not overly complicated. Cool? All right, let's talk about a pro tip really quick. Pro tip is here. My pro tip is what I call thin slicing. Thin slicing. Let me show you how thin slicing works. This is not, once you get your head wrapped around this is a game changer in terms of content development and showing up as an expert writer. Thin slicing basically works like this. Pick a topic. Today we're going to pick, let's say you're going to train or write an Anchor article about headlines. How to write effective headlines, okay? So I'm just going to put up here. Now, the question is if headlines is your topic, can you take the concept of headlines and break it up into smaller segments? In other words, thin slice it down or expand it out into smaller subtopics and other smaller subtopics? Well, the answer is, of course, yes. For example, I could write an entire article about headlines that dealt with the concept of what are called RAS triggers. What's an RAS trigger? An RAS trigger is very simply the thing inside your brain that causes you to pay attention to something. It's when you buy a new car and suddenly there's 20 other new cars on the road. And we could do an entire discourse. I've written and talked and taught and spoken about this on a number of occasions, but I'm just giving you some examples. So I could write something on that. Is it on RAS triggers? Is there anything else that I could write about with headlines? Sure, I could write about my sauce method. The sauce method is very simply this method that you can look at a headline and you can score it out. Is it simple? Is it actionable? Or specific? Is it actionable? Is it unique? Is it compelling? Is it emotional? And there's a little scorecard there. You score it out, and I could teach that in a given article. So my main core article about headlines, I now have 2 articles. That gives me one idea, 3 articles. But let's not stop there. Let's write about story leads. Could you look at a headline and say, let's do a headline that's from the angle of telling stories? Can you start off a headline or a subject line or an introduction to an email? Can you do that using a story? The answer is yes, but there's some techniques to it, and I could teach about that in an article. What about if I could say, okay, I'm going to just write a straight, direct headline that talks about discounts? So I could say, hey, there's a certain style of headlines that's called a discount offer. And you could say, hey, for a penny, you can have this program or for free book with shipping. That's an offer headline. And then it works all the time. And there's nuances about how to do that. You could teach about that technique and that style inside of this. So now I've taken one idea, headlines, and now I've got 4 articles about it. Okay? What about big ideas? How to research big ideas for your headlines. So we could go on and on and on, right? The fact is that you could take the idea of headlines and you could teach different nuances and different aspects and different concepts about writing a headline. And you could probably come up with 30 or 40 or 50 subtopics just dealing with headlines. In fact, I know people, colleagues of mine in this industry, who have written entire books just about headlines, right? Like 50 to 70,000 words just about headlines. So any topic that you look at, you can thin slice it down. In other words, there's never an end to good quality content that you can create that validates you're an expert and a professional and can get the job done. So my invitation to you today is very simple. Make a decision that you're going to set up a schedule, and every week from now until the rest of Foreverville, you're going to write an anchor article and multiply that down using this system that I've talked about. And then if you get stuck, I want you to thin slice your concepts and break it down into smaller chunks in different subtopics. You can do this, right? You can totally do this. And you might need to learn a few things about these different aspects, but they're all learnable and they're not overly complicated. Sound good? So will you do that? Will you take that challenge? Go ahead and raise your hand. I can't see you, but go ahead and raise your hand if you're willing to commit to multiplying your efforts so you can write faster and make more money, attract ideal clients into your world, and have greater success and a better lifestyle in your life. You willing to commit to that? All right, sounds good. I'm going to keep you to your word. I want to see that content flowing out of your world like crazy, just like it flows out of mine, just like it flows out of other experts. Sound good? All right, I'll talk to you soon. Bye now.